and welcome back to the only show with more cob than a corn farm. I'm Max.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Luke.
And this is Force for Thought. All right, hello and welcome back to Force for Thought. We are going through our review of The Mandalorian, and we are starting with Season 2, Episode 1, Chapter 9, The Marshal. I want to go around real quick and give it our quick thoughts, maybe a quick ranking on a scale of 1 to 10. I can go first, but Luke, I believe last episode, you said you were excited for this rewatch because you kind of recalled this being one of your favorite episodes of all time. So I wanted to go to you first. What were you thinking on rewatch? And because on our last episode we just ranked the first season, I'm also wondering where it lines up relative to all those, if it is your favorite of all of them so far.
Yes, it is. This is number one. I liked it exactly as much as I remembered liking it. Fantastic episode.
Was it close, or is it by far?
It would be close if it didn't have Cobb Vanth, but I won't call it an unnatural affection for Cobb Vanth, but we'll get into what he represents for the fandom and the continuity and canon community. Like it's really cool that he exists, and it's really cool the character that he is. Timothy Olyphant is really cool. The Boba Fett armor with his red scarf is really cool. Like everything is super awesome. I love Cobb Vanth, and then it's also a really good episode that just happens to feature him. So yes, favorite episode by a good bit.
100% agree. I also really like Cobb Vanth. I had a alternate intro joke that had the punchline involving porn on the cob, but it was too long of a setup, and ultimately it wasn't going to make it. So I was like, you know what? I'll just go with the lower hanging fruit.
Do you remember one of my first intro jokes with Cobb Vanth?
No.
I just about wrote it again, trying to come up with an intro joke to it. It was the only podcast sponsored by Mike Tyson's new corn delivery service called Cobb Vanth or something like that. It was slightly more elegant.
That does ring a bell.
I do remember that now. Yeah.
I remember
the Mike Tyson aspect of it.
Me too. To be like, huh? That's so funny, Luke. I love it now.
Matthew, the Marshal. What'd you think?
I also, it's weird. Why does Cobb Vanth? I know, like you said, we'll get into it, Luke, about like legacy stuff and canonicity of it. But I feel like Timothy Olyphant as Cobb Vanth is the perfect casting. I also have such an affection for him. I don't know why. Like, what is it about Timothy Olyphant that is baked into our brains? Is it because he's never really a main character besides in the show Justified? But besides that, he's always like the guy that you want to be. And this is who I picture Boba Fett to be. Anyway, I like this episode a lot as well.
Charismatic.
I know, he really is. Even in The Office, he's in that for just a little bit, and you're like, this guy's so cool. I don't know where I would rank it in the pantheon of the episodes thus far. I have not added it to my lists yet, but overall, I really like this episode. It's got, I think, a great use of time jumps and also a good setup just for the fact of Boba Fett's armor. I like that it's a semi-fake out when you're like, oh, is it Boba Fett? And I also like at the end of the episode where you're like, is that Boba Fett or is that just another clone? Like, well, who is this? I mean, presumed that it is Boba Fett. But I think at the time as well, like, right, we all assumed, but at the same time, you don't know if that is actually who that's going to be, way back when. And so I like this episode. I like what it sets up.
I can only suppress my facial emotions so much. I think it was very clear that was Boba Fett. I do think it was a thorough fake out that it was maybe Boba Fett when it first showed Cobb Vanth. But by the end, of course that's Boba Fett. It's Tamora Morrison. He's all scarred up. He's on Tatooine. There was not a doubt in my mind that wasn't Boba Fett.
I think
maybe credited on IMDb as cloaked figure, and I kind of laughed when I saw that because I was like, I wonder who Tamora Morrison is playing as a cloaked figure. And the original, I guess, fake out or whatever, that it wasn't really Boba Fett underneath the armor to begin with, is a much better fake out if you're not watching it with subtitles, because there was a spoiler where it says Cobb Vanth beforehand. That was a little disappointing.
I almost always watch with subtitles, but I didn't this time, and that's funny.
Not that you needed to. I mean, you knew where this was going, so it's not like it spoiled it for you on rewatch.
No.
But if it was your first time watching it, it did make a difference. But we're skipping over a lot of good things that happened before then. So first, let's talk about the beginning of the episode. So we start with the Mandalorian meeting Gor Koresh at the Gamorrean Fight Club. We find out that he is seeking out other Mandalorians, and I love this scene. I don't understand, why they're there or what's going on, but I just see two Gamorreans in a boxing ring fighting each other with vibro axes. Gor Koresh looks great. Yes. I think I don't know if it was CGI or prosthetics or a combination of the two, but it looked good. His lips were actually moving along with the words. He looked great. And the action in that scene, mostly hand-to-hand combat with the other people, was awesome. And Matthew, you always joke about how Mandalorian is actually a bad fighter. I feel like this one is a argument in the pro column. I think he definitely held his own there, and it was very fun to watch.
He is mostly practical because I know I've seen the puppet of him at Star Wars Celebration, so I know it's practical to an extent, but there must have been some CG because he looks so perfect. But yes, I agree. The scene was perfect. Loved it. I recognize the last time we talked about this scene was in relation to the Mandalorian and Grogu movie teaser trailer that we saw, and Matt was unfairly disparaging the alleged set design quality for Mandalorian and Grogu in that other arena being small and TV budget-ish. And I cited this as being what TV budget looks like and how that is greater. So it feels disingenuous that I'm about to praise this as looking like better than TV budget, but it at least looks better than Mandalorian Season 1 looked. Like, this is a set. Like, this was clearly not a volume showpiece. Like, tons of extras. A lot of different aliens and creature designs. This was a fantastically crafted set and setting. So I loved all that. I loved the action. I loved Gor Koresh. When he pulls out the blaster and shoots that Gamorrean, that was badass. I don't care about the logistics of underworld Gamorrean fighting or who Gor Koresh is. I loved it all. The one thing I didn't like, which admittedly is major, setting the plot for all of Season 2, that he comes up and he's like, I'm looking for other Mandalorians so that they can help me find Grogu's people. I was like, okay. Like, I don't dislike Season 2, obviously, and I know it leads to Bo-Katan and then Ahsoka, and so that's all great, but after Season 1, it's like, is that the next logical step, to go find Grogu's people? Just go find other Mandalorians? What will they know, Obviously it works out, but that was the only thing that jumped out at me as not inconsistent, but just a surprising direction for him to immediately turn to.
It seemed like a writing decision that they kind of tried to force in just so that they could introduce Boba Fett or, this plot point that he's looking for the other Mandalorians. I was going to talk about this later because when he gets to Tatooine and talks to Pelimato, he says it a little more specifically. When he says he's looking for other Mandalorians to chart a path through a network of coverts. And I had 2 question marks around that for the same reason you did. I was just like, is that I don't know. Yeah, from a season-wide story plot, it's just like you're just looking for other Mandalorians. Like, did you guys not have a fallback at your last covert, too? Like, hey, if we ever get found out here, we're meeting at this place.
The rest of them do, because we'll find them. Is that Season 3 when we find them?
We'll find out as we go along.
Yeah, they're on a dragon
I
planet.
think so, because I think we see... or maybe it was Boba Fett Season 1.
Oh, God.
So the next time we see them all together is when they're on that halo, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. That's not the Ring of Kafrene, is it? It might be the Ring of Kafrene.
No, it's not the Ring of Kafrene.
That's Boba Fett Season 1, yeah. When we see, and that's just the armorer and the heavy infantry Mando. But then when we see him, I guess that must
do
be
we
Season
even
3
need
then.
to say? Do we need to say Season 1? Can we just say Boba Fett at this point?
I believe.
No, hold on hope for a Season 2.
We don't want to have egg on our face 10 years from now re-listening to this, and there's 6 seasons of Boba Fett, and seasons 4 through 6 are amazing.
That's when it really starts to pick up. But I don't want to leave that scene, though.
That's when they introduce Boba Fett's
when he
clone
leaves. When he leaves Gor Koresh for dead, hanging upside down. It is such a good way to do lore and just like world building. Like you see like these
There's
creatures
things with
like
red
the red
eyes,
eyes in the background, but they don't address it. Yep. And then he shoots the light and then Like you put it all together yourself. Like you don't need someone explaining what these animals are or how they avoid the light or anything like that. Like they just did it very succinctly, perfectly. Like you can put it together. You know exactly what just happened. And I love that. Matthew, what did you think of this scene?
I liked it. It's funny. I thought about the arena in the trailer as well. I'm like, oh yeah, he's going. It makes sense for an underground like bounty hunter to go to a lot of these like boxing matches and arenas, I guess, in general. So I'm excited to see more of it. I know, Luke, you don't like the Gamorrean guards, if I recall it correctly, but you do. Is it just because of the costuming or something? I swear you're like, it's just a green pig.
No,
I
have talked about how I saw people complain about that before. That they said it just looks like people in green body paint and a mask on boxing. It's like, what else do you expect?
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's it.
No, I am on the pro.
Okay, never mind.
On that debate.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I mean, I like seeing the Gamorrean guards. It's always a joy to see them, and I think like being able to see them in this context was a lot of fun. Yeah, I think the scene is a lot of fun, and like you said, the mouth movement specifically is fantastic. So I don't know what they did specifically here that they stopped doing and neglected to do in the first season, but it really was nice to look at.
And then we finally get the information that the Mandalorian he knows of is back on Tatooine. So Mandalorian travels back to Tatooine. We meet Peli Motto again. This is where I said that he provides more exposition that he's looking for the Mandalorians. We also get some background on Tatooine, including a nice little visual map, which was kind of unnecessary, but, you know, I appreciate it. And we see R5, which is exciting.
Yeah.
And it's funny on rewatch, too, because they really made a point of, like, she calls him R5, but then it like when he comes into frame, they like focus on the little part on his head that had the blown motivator or whatever, and I was like, oh, it's so obvious now. But I remember finding that out the first time I watched it, of being like, oh, did you see the scorch marks from when he had a bad motivator? And I was like, oh, that's so funny. But anyways, I'm indifferent about the scene. Like it's like short and it's just like kind of there to advance the plot. So whatever. I'm not going to say I don't like the scene, although I do have kind of the questions of the plot being set up. And we already talked about my opinions on the character of Peli Motto in the last season. Not a huge fan, but it is what it is.
I like Peli Motto and I like this scene. I agree the shot of showing the map of Tatooine. It's like we frequently complain about when shows and movies tell us something and don't show us something. This is something you could have told us. Like, you did the show don't tell, but not like this. I would rather just be told, Mos Pelgo is actually really small. Oh, okay.
Yeah. You're like, it's a fine line, and you crossed it.
Yes.
Why?
There is another example of that, too, that we will get to. Matthew, did you have any other thoughts on that scene?
No, I like Peli Motto. I'm agreeing with Luke here. I think she's a fun plot device and might just be because I like Amy Sedaris.
Another moment that jumped out at me when Peli said, get away, he doesn't like droids, and Mando comes out and says, no, you might as well let them have a once-over or something like that. And I was like, shedding a single tear, like, oh, IG-11 made him like droids again. And then it cuts back to Peli Motto, and she's like, oh, he likes droids now. And I'm like, all right, you can just let the moment be. I was feeling something.
Yep, they pulled a Marvel where you're just like, oh my god, I'm gonna cry. Oh, never mind, it's a fart joke randomly during a death scene for some reason.
It wasn't like an immature joke. They were just over explaining it. Like you showed that he likes droids well enough. You don't need to go further than this.
Again, fine
From a
line.
writing standpoint, like it was an appropriate character arc. Like you don't need to try to make it like a meta joke about like some sort of inconsistency. Like it's not that. Like no.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
But this is her first time seeing him when he likes droids. So to her, this is new information.
Yeah, I mean it's
but unfortunately for us, the viewer, it is not.
Right.
Right. All right, and then Mandalorian travels to Mos Pelgo. There we meet Cobb Vanth. We also see the Crate Dragon in action, the two strike a deal. And my big takeaway from this scene was that they just kind of like haphazardly throw out the idea of using the Razor Crest. And he's like, well, you can't fly, otherwise it won't sense the vibrations, and that's how it works. And it's like, okay, I get that. Like, you're going to have another aspect to this plan in order to draw it out. But at some point, they definitely should have revisited that when they were coming up with this plan.
Now it goes
Yes.
under the sand. That was perfect because I have run a tabletop RPG Star Wars game, and it wasn't that similar to this, but I made a whole event and storied it out, and HPs and characters and enemies and everything. And the first thing my players did were like, okay, let's hop in our ship and just nuke this place. And I was like, okay, go ahead. Like, I did not think of this. And so, yeah, I wish I did think of something like that, why it wouldn't work. And I appreciated that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau did.
But yeah, I mean, look, from an entertainment perspective, it worked out better, right? Because the scene obviously is very satisfying and it's very fun to watch. But like even at the end, when things don't start going to plan, they are flying around in their jetpacks, and it's like, would have been nice if you had something just a little bit bigger, just in case.
Crate Dragon knows not to fight a Razor Crest. He can fight people on jetpacks.
We also talked a lot about Cobb Vanth already, but this was the introduction of Cobb
How can you
Vanth.
not?
Yes, this is when we'll do it proper.
And I thought this was a fantastic introduction. A great character design. I know in previous episodes we've already talked about the refurbished Boba Fett armor in the Book of Boba Fett, and how I love this scuffed up, dirty, battle damaged Boba Fett armor over top this sexy Western
Man.
All right.
costume.
Tell us how you really feel, Maxwell.
I don't know how else to describe it. He has a little bandana on. He has a little handkerchief on and everything.
Yes.
That he does.
He looks amazing. And I also don't get
10
like,
out of 10.
Timothy
Cobb Vanth
Oliphant is not
really helps carry this episode.
Timothy Oliphant is not a particularly lanky man, and Din Djarin is not a particularly bulky man. But when they stand next to each other, it is like a toothpick and a Lincoln log. Like I don't know if it's armor or what.
Why is that?
Right.
I think especially when he's got like, why does that helmet sit so high up on his head? Like, I'm just like,
But it
does he
fits.
have like a super long neck? Yes, I know, it's so weird to look at. I mean, I 1000% agree, Luke.
Yeah, I love
That's
it.
funny. Lincoln log and toothpick is a great way to describe it.
One thing I like about Cobb Vanth wearing that helmet is that there are a lot of scenes where you can see his skin, like his neck.
His beard, yeah.
And it's like, you don't really see that a whole lot in Star Wars, because even when characters do wear helmets, like they have the actors pull up the, what's it called? The things that they wear underneath their
mask,
helmets so
yeah.
that it's black right there. Yeah. But I don't know. I like that this was he just threw the helmet on and it worked. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in this scene works so well because you immediately get reactive when he takes off the helmet because it's like, oh my god, you can't take off the helmet. And then you see him and you're like, oh my god, he's beautiful, so it's okay. And then he starts talking and you're like, oh my god, it's Cobb Vanth. This is the coolest thing ever. So yeah, Cobb Vanth was a character from the Aftermath trilogy interludes. One interlude. The Aftermath trilogy, a series of 3 books, some of the not quite the first 3 books in canon, but 2015-ish. They had interludes in the middle of the books where it would just be a completely different story. One time they talked about Jar Jar, but it's like only a couple of chapters, only a couple of pages, one chapter. And in one of them, this guy named Cobb Vanth gets Boba Fett's armor. He is barely a canon character, but he is. And the fact that they included him is such a deep pull, so well appreciated. And then they made him also a very interesting and likable character. Yeah, so the out-of-universe inclusion of Cobb Vanth is very satisfying. The in-universe inclusion of Cobb Vanth is very satisfying. I love Cobb Vanth.
I will say the downside of Cobb Vanth and in this show is that it sets up, I think, an amazing idea of what Boba Fett should be like without the mask on, without the helmet on. And I think seeing Cobb Vanth with Boba Fett's armor, you're like, and then you get Boba Fett, you're like, oh, I think I like Cobb Vanth better now, like than Boba Fett. And it's like, I think that's the one downside of Cobb Vanth is that he sets his expectations too high for being too cool.
I do like Cobb Vanth better than Boba Fett, but it's not like they're this. Like, it's
I
not
know,
like Cobb Vanth
but you did it before, right?
Well, I didn't know Cobb Vanth before, but it's not like Cobb Vanth out badassed Boba Fett, and he was like more gritty and imposing than Boba Fett. Like, they are different characters. They're doing different things. So I'm not mad that I like him more. It's not like he's doing the same thing and I like him more. They're doing different things, and I just happen to like him more. But I like Luke Skywalker more too, but that doesn't take away anything than Boba Fett. I know they're wearing the same armor, but they are very different characters, Cobb Vanth and Boba.
Yes.
And
but
it's more,
I'm like,
more praise for Cobb Vanth than it is criticism on Boba Fett, because again, we're
I
giving
disagree.
Timothy Oliphant's portrayal is very high praise. No,
The thing, well, Boba Fett current, like Tamara Mortensen Boba Fett, like original trilogy Boba Fett, can't beat him. But I'm just like, once Boba Fett gets the armor back, I'm like, give it back, give it back. He wears it better than you. You're not gonna wear the helmet at all. You're gonna wear a fucking weird skirt with it.
The weird skirt is a
I don't
step
like
backward. But I also think all the time about
Yeah.
when Tamara Morrison talked about how he worked out a ton after Mando season 2 before the Book of Boba Fett, because people online were calling him Boba Fett, and that makes me so sad.
Oh, that is sad.
he's
just
also-
older.
Yeah, but to say he's an old man now too.
He is, but he is. I mean, he's got to be
Chill
30
out,
pounds
chill off
heavier
a
in
little
Mando
bit.
season 2 than he is in Book of Boba Fett. He did lose a ton of weight.
I cannot think of the word for that black fabric that they wear underneath their helmets, but it's a balaclava. That's what I was trying to think of. Also known as a shiesty.
Baklava.
Okay, and then this is the other kind of unnecessary exposition that I was going to talk about before. We get an unnecessary flashback showing Cobb Vanth's rise to power in Mos Pelgo, and we really didn't need to see it at all, because Boba Fett already asked him where he got his armor, and he said he got it from some Jawas. And that alone is pretty much sufficient. Like, the backstory didn't really add anything that we didn't already put together ourselves, other than it did give us a couple more cool action scenes of Cobb Vanth, and that's, again, why I don't hate it. But I thought that or the flashback sequence was a little silly.
Yeah, I could
Little
have done
heavy-handed.
without it. The part that seems silly to me is that they have it while on speeder bike back, going like 1,000,000 miles an hour, and they're just having a delicate conversation. Like, I know, like, I can't have a conversation with someone when I'm on a bicycle next to them. Like, you are not at a conversation spot right now, and you just were, and you are right after
No.
this. So that part bothered me a little, but no big deal. I loved the original confrontation between them. How nonchalant Cobb Vanth is when he's just like, yeah, so I reckon only one of us is walking out of here. Like, I know that's a common Western thing, but I don't like Westerns, and I love this, so I'm just experiencing it for the first time, I guess. They just do for the first time with Cobb Vanth, the camera shot from behind his waist as he tickles his gun with his fingers, and then the crate dragon comes.
Tickles.
Like, I'm already kind of sick of that moment, and I know we're gonna get it like 6 more times this series. But this one was good because it was the first one, so I'm not sick of it yet.
I agree. Unfortunately, what I am sick of came next. So this is where the episode takes a downturn for me, because that's where the Tuskens come in. Again, we already know how I feel about the Tuskens. I am not a fan of this whole humanization of the Tuskens. I did think that they did a pretty good job, though, of showing that, in that Cobb Vanth was very anti-Tusken the entire time. And at one point, they even have this little confrontation where they're like, they know how many of them you've killed. And he was like, they were raiding our village. Like, I was defending my people. And I was like, yeah, you absolutely were. I'm 100% on Cobb Vanth's side about this. Tusken Raiders are not good. And I stand by that. And I don't like these attempts in this show or in Book of Boba Fett to humanize them. But the big redeeming moment was that we found out that gaffy sticks are just giant bantha toothpicks. That's the kind of lore that I'm here for.
I also really liked that. But I like all the Tusken stuff. I am much more pro Tusken than you are. Like, it's not like they're all of a sudden
Yeah.
the protagonists. This is the same conversation we had last time. Regrettably, because I tried to stop you last time, because last time they barely did anything, and we said when Mando starts talking to the Tuskens, we can talk about it more. And it is a little silly at times, but it still works, mostly because he's behind a mask also. Like, if we saw a person doing the, like, grunts and stuff, like his actual mouth moving and his eyes, whatever, like, I can't even imagine what that would look like.
I agree.
But having it behind a mask, I think it still works. And humanizing them is fine, because it's not like we're learning that they actually weren't wrong for attacking people. Like, they were the bad guys, but It's the difference between them being savages that don't know how to
Still
speak and just assholes that kill people. Like, they are bad guys, but they're people.
I would say that they are savages. They are savages that murder people, that raid people. They take their stuff. They steal their women. They rape and plunder. I mean, these are... I would say savage is a very apt word for
Are
it.
pirates savage? I guess maybe I'm just caught up on the semantics of the word savage. Because I think about it in terms of, like, Pocahontas and New World era when they thought, like, the natives literally couldn't think right. Like, they thought they were unintelligent people. Like, just because you're doing all these things. Like, if you're a pirate, like, pirates are bad guys by every metric. They do all those horrible things. But they are smart. Like, you can talk to them and they can... They're people, you know?
Yeah, I'm not saying that they're not sentient or intelligent beings.
They're just dicks.
I think savages I think that implies unintelligent.
Well, I'll have to Google what the definition is, I suppose, but that would be a semantics argument. Regardless, I'm not a fan of it. They've been portrayed as the bad guys every single time we've seen them, and now all of a sudden we're linking arms with them, and I'm not a fan. But
Yeah. As you know, we don't talk semantics on
it
this
does
podcast
provide
ever.
Just to put it to bed real quick, Oxford
Correct. Trying to
languages,
avoid that for this
savage, a brutal or vicious person. So I am putting all kinds of context on that word that apparently don't apply. They are undoubtedly savages, if that's what a savage is.
I'll take that W. Going through my notes, Cobb argues with the Tuscans and is 1,000% correct. Okay. So the good thing about working with the Tuscans, though, is that, you know, because they are still Tuscan Raiders, we can just kind of like kill them in brutal ways with impunity because it's different than actual people. And it does lead to one of the like darkest, the best dark humor in all of Star Wars, which is when they were showing how they can drag out the crate dragon from its hidey hole. And
Yes.
they bring out this bantha, they leave it, and then this guy starts running away. And then the crate dragon comes out, completely ignores the bantha, and just eats this Tuscan Raider. And then it cuts to the Tuscans, and they're like, they jump back, and they're like shocked. And then Cobb Vanth, or I forget who said if it was Cobb or Mando, just turns and says, they might be open to new ideas. Like, that is so funny.
Yes.
And then that bantha just slowly walks away.
The reaction shot
That's such a funny
Yeah, that was a good
beat.
The
moment.
reaction shot of the Tuscans made me LOL because I've never thought this before because I've never been in anything close to a situation like this, but their facial expression is inherently like shocked. Like, you don't often think
Yes.
that about them because they're doing something horrid. But if you just put them in that context where they're like step back,
these are-
like, yeah, they're wide-eyed, gaping mouth. That was hysterical.
Like, oh, fuck.
These are close-knit communities, too. I mean, they knew that guy their entire life, and he just died right in front of their eyes. And they're just like, well, that sucks. Served absolutely zero purpose.
Yeah, I like that Bantha survives, and I also like how willing they are to feed the Banthas to this crate dragon so regularly. Like, they said they have to feed it like every couple months or something to keep him not hungry, which makes sense, and that's worth it. But then they're also willing to feed like 6 or 7 to the crate dragon to hopefully kill him, and again, that's also worth it. But I don't know, that jumped out at me as well. I thought that was fun.
Yeah, it makes you wonder about the economy of banthas and how easily they come into them. Do you think the Tuscan Raiders are buying them, or do you think they breed them?
They gotta be breeding them because they always have them, and you never see them with anyone else.
That's true.
You see... no, that's a dewback. Yeah, I guess that's true, isn't it? Interesting. Okay. Then Mandalorian very rudely volunteers the entire citizenry of Mos Pelgo to this endeavor. Now, I don't know the in and outs of this town. During this town hall that they have, they make it clear that there's a school, which is just kind of like a funny throwaway line, you know, because like it's just like emotional manipulation that they just used at one point. They were like, look, they're killing our livestock, but it's not going to be long until they eat the school. And then everyone's like, oh my God, the children. And I was just like, what the?
You're underselling
But this is
that
a tiny
scene. I did
town.
not get that vibe at all.
Surely surely it would have been better for all of these people to just move, right? I mean, if the Crate Dragon is not affecting Mos Eisley or Mos Espa, it's like you get up and leave. Like, this is a town of like 20 people. You should not be risking your life for this.
Classic white man, just telling people, oh, if you don't like it, just move away. You were just born in a place that you like. You know, sometimes, Max, you want to keep your home, and it's important to you. These people are very prideful of their area. They would have left long ago if they could tolerate it. Like, it sucks here. They're not here because it's nice or they enjoy it. They're here because they feel a deep ancestral pride with it. I assume. Obviously, all of this is subtext.
I assume. I am pro Crate Dragon gentrification.
That's a hot take, I hope.
We're talking savages and gentrification here. This is great.
That's okay. No, savages is not offensive, I don't think, because it's just a vicious, or what was the definition? A vicious or brutal person.
Can confirm. That applies. Anyway, all right. So what was your takeaway then from this town hall? I mean, did you have any thoughts on that scene?
No, I liked it. No real thoughts. I thought it was exactly what it needed to be, and nothing jumped out as silly or hokey or anything. Cobb Vanth with his helmet off looks sexy as hell. He could convince me to go fight a Crate Dragon.
Yeah. Same.
And then we get a little more details about the plan. They're transporting explosives that they're just going to bury in the sand. They're going to draw it out. They're going to blow it up from its belly. Seems like a pretty straightforward plan. It's kind of like one of those classic tropes in movies or TV shows where they go through the plan step by step so the audience knows exactly how it's supposed to happen, because it inevitably will not. But the first thing that goes wrong is we see it start to spit acid. And that was a fun little twist as well, because I didn't know that it did that. And going back to my conversation about how they can just kill off Tusken Raiders with impunity because they're still not real people. You see these Tusken Raiders just absolutely melt away from this toxic acid, which you wouldn't see that. They wouldn't use the citizenry of Mos Pelgo for that, because that would be like way too brutal. But the Tuskens, they were just like, yeah, we'll melt away a couple of them, no problem. But that was awesome as well. The Crate Dragon in general is just a 10 out of 10 Star Wars creature.
I totally forgot that he spits acid. That made me lean forward slightly when I was watching it yesterday. I like this episode a lot, but just was not expecting that even on this rewatch.
Like, all these poor bastards.
It gives me too much to think about, though, because I'm just thinking about the logistics of that. And I'm like, where is this stored, though? Because when Mandalorian flies into him or he gets eaten by him, you know, I'm just like, is he just like swimming in that stuff? Would he be able to? Like, what about like all the cracks? Like, his armor, Beskar, doesn't cover 100% of his body. It's still going to melt away the fabric in between and everything.
He's got a little goo on him at the end.
I don't know the anatomy of a Crate Dragon.
I'll say it's got to be a separate thing, right? Because I feel like,
because he's not eating his bile. He's eating, or his venom. He's eating Mando and the Bantha. It definitely doesn't come out of fangs like a snake, but I'm trying to think how it is like that.
I don't know how else to describe it besides
it's coming out of
cum
his
and
throat.
piss. Separate, you know?
It looked like it was puking when it does it.
Yeah, that's it.
And then we get really the moment that we're all here for, when we see Cobb Vanth and Mandalorian fly around on their jetpacks.
Yeah.
Nice. Just
It
every
was-
time.
I remember watching it for the first time and being elated. Like, I know we got a little bit of it in season 1 with the whole group, but to be able to see them one-on-one and actually see, like, the jetpack's, like, functionality, I feel like, too, and not everything go according to plan all the time, especially with the jetpacks, which seems like an impossible piece of equipment to operate. It's
Especially
great
if you
in
got a
video
broken
games,
one.
Seems great. Yeah, just does not seem like the easiest thing to maneuver.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that. Was it last episode or 2 episodes ago when the armorer gave a jetpack to the Mandalorian and she kind of casually had a throwaway line like, you have to practice with it, otherwise it won't respond to your commands.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Is
I
it
don't
like
know
a
how it works.
wand? Yeah.
Another moment of things not going as planned, which it was a small moment, but I appreciate it, when Cobb Vanth gets its attention and he says, "Now what?" And Mando says, "Take care of the kid. I don't know what I'm going to do." And then he taps his jetpack and he flies away, and then Mando's sitting there with the bantha with all the explosives, and the bantha starts bucking around and gets away. It's like, oh god, this is a disaster. This is the worst possible time for that. And he was able to just hold it down, and so it didn't really matter. But that's one of those moments that does not need to be there, but I really appreciate that it is.
Just adds a little bit more tension. Just one more thing that could have gone wrong. It's funny that you also just said taps his jetpack and he flies away. I mean, he gave it a pretty decent whack, but I guess that goes back to the Star Wars logic of what we said last week about the closing doors and how you can just shoot any door panel and it'll either open shut or stay open or shut depending on what you want it to do. Same thing with jetpacks. I mean, he hit it and he flew away.
No.
Presumably it would also work in the opposite
It's
as
just
well.
that jetpack, because Han Solo did that to Boba Fett last time it was worn, and so it's damaged in that area.
Oh, that's true. That's consistent, isn't it?
He says that at
That's
the
crazy.
end.
Is that
when,
why?
When he gives the armor back, he says, "Ask your people. I'd like to know who broke that or how that broke or something."
That's hilarious.
Oh, I didn't even pick up on that. He does
Damn.
have that line.
Luke, great observation, my friend.
That is so funny. Okay. All right, I take it back. that is good continuity. That's going in the pro column. All right, and then Mandalorian gets swallowed up with the bantha and blows it up from the inside. Classic Star Wars Episode 1, Anakin blowing up a Trade Federation ship.
When he flies out, it's another great visual storytelling where it's all I need to see. He flies out and he's poking it, and it's like being electrocuted with his pulsar rifle because it does that. Like, yes, good job. He electrocuted it from the inside. He opened its mouth. That's how that happens.
Yeah.
I too would be trying to get that out of my body. All right, and then that basically wraps it up. And then so they start taking the meat. We find out that there is some sort of pearl inside of the crate dragon that the Tuscans
Yes.
got to keep.
Yeah, that's a Knights of the Old Republic
Cobb gives
reference.
the-
Apparently, that was a big thing in that game. I haven't played it either, but
I remember it was something. I remember people made a big deal about that at the
I
time.
do not
but
remember. Also,
never
actually
played
brutal
Knights of the
looking.
Republic.
Like guts. Like actual guts.
there's one
gore.
moment where the Tuscans are harvesting the meat, and one guy is like, I don't know if he was just bitter on set that he had to keep doing this for like the 10th take in a row, but it looked like he was comically not trying. Like, all of them are faking it. This isn't actual stuff that they're cutting up. They're just poking at it. But yeah, I just pulled it up again. He like pulls back very slowly and then just drops it. Like, what are you doing, man? You guys.
He's tired. He's like, I'm done with this.
Oh. Next time you watch it, you'll know exactly what
like-
I'm talking about.
I like the comically large piece of meat that they give the Mandalorian to part with. Granted, there's plenty to go around. This thing was not a small animal, but it is like a 2 foot by 2 foot cube.
Yeah.
Like, that thing is going to feed him and Grogu for years.
The line is, "Tell your people I wasn't the one who broke that. It was Han Solo."
That's so...
It's good.
Even
I love
on
that.
rewatch, I didn't pick up on that, but that's why we're doing this. I'm glad that I know that now. All right, and then that's it. That's the whole episode. Oh, except there's one little thing at the very end, and it is, in my opinion, the best cliffhanger in Star Wars. I think it's obvious. I think it's clear that was
Wait,
Boba
in
Fett.
all
I
of
think
Star
it's
Wars?
obviously Tamara Morrison, all of Star Wars.
You're
There's not
saying
there's not
beyond Luke
cliffhangers
Skywalker at the end of
generally.
Force Awakens. This is better than Force Awakens, Luke Skywalker being revealed. That's insane, Maxwell. To
Besides
see a
that,
shriveled up
second best,
nutsack
second
version of
best.
him. Oh.
Maybe
I-
I would say maybe yes, because you don't. It's not like, oh my gosh, Luke Skywalker's back. It's like, well, you knew Luke Skywalker was going to be there. You knew that he was coming in the sequel trilogy at some point. You just don't know what he's going to say.
No, don't go underselling that. Like, I'm with you that this is a great cliffhanger, but it's
Thank you,
nothing
Luke.
compared to the Force Awakens cliffhanger.
No, it's
That
no.
was
This
amazing.
is
Like, it made grown men
No,
cry.
I'll
It
stand by
wasn't
my
surprising.
opinion. This is the best cliffhanger in all of
yes.
Star
This
Wars.
is a crumb in comparison to a full sandwich. This is not. This is. I don't. Oh man, the cliffhanger. I got that.
no
That could
being
be.
teased with Boba Fett, man. That is because you didn't. No, I
turns
think that's
out-
a better cliffhanger.
It to me. It turns out this episode. See, Max. For me, this episode solidified. Boba Fett is the armor. I Cobb Vanth instantly took the place of being cool in comparison to what Boba Fett. When I looked at Tem at the last scene, it feels like when you're in the bath for way too long and you start to get shriveled up and you touch your fingertips.
Aw.
That's the feeling I get every single time I look at him. And I just,
They make
to
it-
me, it's like he just,
Don't go
Boba
dogging
Fett
on.
just becomes something that I'm sorry.
Don't go
He's not, I'm
dogging
not
on
going to call him
Tim.
Boba
He was
Fett.
being digested in a sarlacc
Yeah.
pit, Matthew.
The Tatooine Sons
I'm just
are
saying
brutal.
that's the feeling I get. I agree.
I think
He
you're
doesn't do
looking back
himself
at
any
it
favor. Yeah.
more negatively than you would otherwise because you don't like the Book of Boba Fett, which obviously I'm with you on that. We don't need to rehash my feelings on it. But as far as like seeing this for the first time, that is one of the most exciting moments in all of Star Wars. You didn't know that it was coming. You didn't know he was going to be there. And I mean, come on, it's Boba Fett.
That's fair. I'm more on Matt's side than Max's, and I'm really hopping on the more I think about Boba Fett is just the armor, because Episode 2 Boba Fett, he's a kid, so that's not exactly fair. But he's not that cool. But then Clone Wars Boba Fett, he's still a kid, but he gets that other armor that kind of sucks, and it's like, would he be awesome in Boba Fett armor right now? And I think he would be. Like, if Boba Fett had all the same scenes and dialogue and moments in the Clone Wars, but he was instead wearing his Boba Fett armor, I think it would be such a cool guy. And instead, he's like my 15th favorite character from the Clone Wars.
Yeah. I mean, how about even just like when Ahsoka and Sabine go to find Ezra? Like, that's an amazing cliffhanger as well. Like, what's gonna go happen with? I don't know. There's a million other cliffhanger. That's gotta be a whole other episode we gotta talk about. I feel like. Unfortunately, we're
there's
doing
enough in Star Wars to do a whole episode on it, though. I can't really think of anything that would compete with it other than Luke at the end of Force Awakens.
You're not gonna like it, but Osha putting on the stranger's helmet and it gets dark and you hear her breathing. That was an amazing cliffhanger.
That's a great cliffhanger too.
That's a good cliffhanger. Yeah, it still doesn't compare to these
yeah,
two.
it does,
but
actually. I like that one better than Boba
is a
Fett.
cliffhanger.
Oh, that was insane. That was such a cool moment. They didn't quite stick the landing with it in the following episode, which, similar to the Boba Fett one, does take away from the cliffhanger. But like the Luke Skywalker cliffhanger, it's just not even similar. Because yes, it's Luke Skywalker and all of
the
that.
next time we see Boba Fett is not in the Book of Boba Fett. We do see Boba Fett again in this,
And it's
he is
awesome, yeah.
badass. So it is very well done. Boba Fett is done perfectly in The Mandalorian.
It's a Boba Fett cliffhanger. Like the Luke Skywalker cliffhanger is a Luke Skywalker cliffhanger and Rey and the Resistance and the whole trilogy and the saga. Like it dwarfs this in scale.
But it's undercooked. It's undercut by the very fact that Luke Skywalker's appearance in the movie was limited to just a cliffhanger.
Yeah, we definitely weren't expecting.
I mean, you're also disappointed at the same time that that's it. Like you leave the Boba Fett cliffhanger pumped to see Boba Fett again. You leave the Luke Skywalker cliffhanger thinking like, "Fuck, that's it. I gotta wait 3 years now just to find out what he's gonna say."
No, it's the best, and then that's my favorite moment in Star Wars. Next to my least favorite moment in Star Wars because
with what he does.
I think that's the worst moment. Exactly, that's the.
When he throws the lightsaber, you mean?
Yes, my least favorite scene in all of Star Wars.
Well, I like it, and I like this episode quite a bit too.
I did like
Overall,
it, with that
this
being said.
episode
Yes,
an 8 out of 10. I think it is my third or fourth favorite episode of all of the episodes of Mandalorian that we have watched so far.
It's my favorite.
I think
by a
I for
good
sure put it in
margin.
the top 5.
Top
I gotta do
5.
some more
There's no way
thinking.
you like 4 episodes in season 1 as much as this one. There's only 8.
I don't
and
know.
we complained about most
I'll,
of them.
I'll circle. I'll
The
circle
Prisoner
back
was
with you.
was the one that I was like definitely that this episode was definitely better than. It's competing with Redemption, which is the season finale of season 1 for me. But episodes 1, 3, and 8 I have up there with this episode.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement with that.
It's right around there. Those are my next favorites.
We're all in the same
I know.
ballpark. It's not even worth arguing about.
But I am
There's a
very
lot more
excited
than-
to see how the rest of the season goes, because I know, Luke, I think you have pretty strong feelings about the next episode, which I'm excited to review because I don't think I've ever watched it again since I saw
Oh
it.
God, that's
Same.
episode 2 already.
My feelings aren't
Oh,
that
what a-
strong.
what a
It's just
good
that
cliffhanger.
Frog Lady is cool. Like that's my strong feelings. No one else thinks Frog Lady is cool.
I'm so excited to rewatch this. I want our opinions to swap so bad. I want me and Max to be like, out of that, all the stressful stuff going on, this was an amazing, relaxing episode. And Luke, even though it's actually a pretty stressful episode, and then Luke, I want you to be like, that was pointless. I hated it. Like as we're ranking them, I don't see this even being close to the top 5 episodes for you in the long run.
Me?
The next
But
one
you
or this
probably
one?
no the next one. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
probably not.
Oh,
I
yeah,
never
okay.
said that it was one of
Yeah.
my favorite episodes. I just like it more than everyone else.
Specifically the fact that Frog Lady occasionally runs on 4 legs.
Yes.
Maybe I'll be blown away by that as well.
You
on
will be.
rewatch.
She needs to go fast in that
all
moment.
right.
She's faster on 4 legs. Star Wars Rebels Season 2 is one of the best cliffhangers. Probably better than the Boba Fett
Oh
one.
my God, yeah, I absolutely agree.
What was Star Wars Rebels Season 2?
Oh
That
my
was
God,
Ahsoka
Max, when
and Darth
Kanan
Vader.
dies too. Oh my God, you kidding me? Fade to white. Oh my God, I can't
wouldn't call
believe he
that a
says Boba Fett
A
thing
massive
either.
cliffhanger, though. That was a great
Was
moment.
it a cliffhanger?
The Kanan one.
Oh.
I wouldn't call it. I wouldn't put it in the conversation of cliffhangers. That's just when he dies. It's amazing, but
It's kind of like an inadvertent cliffhanger, though.
Yeah.
Because I agree that wasn't a cliffhanger, but it was because it was an animated TV show that you're just kind of left like, wait, did he die? And
Yes.
then in the beginning of the next episode, they're talking about him in the past tense and everything, and you're like, oh my God,
Oh,
I think he actually died.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was like, an intentional cliffhanger.
the end of Light of the Jedi. You guys haven't read that, have you? The first High Republic book that ends on a sick cliffhanger. Or no, it's the end of The Fallen Star. Because it's the end of Phase 1, Mark Rowe broadcasts to the whole galaxy that the galaxy is his, and it was so cool.
Yeah, that's a cool cliffhanger. What is the ending of Season 2 of Rebels? How does that end exactly? Do you remember?
Kanan and Ezra survive and go back to Atollon? Were they on Atollon at the time? But we,
So
it's
when
the,
Kanan's
we don't
blind
know.
And then we just don't know about Ahsoka.
Yes.
She's fighting Darth Vader, and then we later see Darth Vader walk away, and we don't see anything about
Yes,
Ahsoka.
we see Morai fly around, the owl. So there's something there. I mean, of course, there was something there. But yeah, we don't know what happened to Ahsoka.
I do like that a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
I mean,
Of the ones that we've thrown,
We
out
haven't
so
talked
far,
about
I think that's
Empire.
the closest one to compete with these.
Empire is a pretty sick cliffhanger.
The last
Two.
scene.
Really, that's just the ending of the movie.
Yeah,
Oh
I guess.
no, it's a great ending.
How do you define?
No, when they're in
cliffhanger?
the ship looking out at the galaxy. Oh no, it's what's next? What do you do with this information? That's an amazing clip. I mean, it is the ending of a movie. It's a harder
a
clip.
The ending for the
but
second
no,
part of a
that's-
trilogy. You could say the same thing about Attack of the Clones, Empire, and The Last Jedi. Like, it's just setting up the finale. They're all cliffhangers.
It is, but man, cinema was never the same. And at the time, you gotta wait 3 years.
Well, I can't relate, so I don't care about that.
That's always good.
All right, well,
My experience is the only one that
that'll
matters, Matt.
do it for. That'll do it for Season 2, Episode 1. Watch Episode 2 and come back next week and we will discuss it. Does anyone have any force for thought? I do have a force for thought for today. I was thinking back to one of my favorite scenes in all of Star Wars. Luke, you'll remember it well. It was in Obi-Wan Kenobi. There is a scene where Obi-Wan is talking to Leia, and Obi-Wan mentions that he has a brother, or that he thought that he had a brother. And
I do remember it well.
obviously this scene lives rent-free in my head for all time. And I'm just thinking about it. And I'm like, do you think there's a little bit of him? I'm not saying he's lying. But do you think there's a little bit of him that was like also kind of trying to see if Leia might say something similar?
Whoa,
By suggesting like, oh, I think I had a brother. And her being like, oh, that's weird. I kind of have a similar feeling too.
Oh,
Max,
wow.
that's actually crazy.
You're blowing my mind. For how many times have we talked about this scene, and this angle has never occurred to us? That is a great force for thought. I was so ready to accuse you of using the Force for Thought as a weapon against me. And no, this is a great Force for Thought. That's insane. That recontextualizes
I never
the
thought
scene.
about that, Max. Yeah, that's a really damn. We're over here maybe thinking about it the completely wrong way for years now. Whoa.
I mean, the real answer is
I got to rewatch
no.
it now.
Obi-Wan was like 2 or 3
Maybe.
when he got taken, and Leia was 2 or 3 hours when she got taken. So like, Obi-Wan knows damn well there's no way she remembers her brother. But with the Force, maybe she can feel that she has a brother.
Is there a Force curve
The
there?
question is with the Force, because people also always point out her line in Return of the Jedi where she says that she can remember her mother. And obviously after Revenge, people were like, that doesn't make sense. But maybe it is, an apparition of the Force that she is being given visions of her mother. And maybe Obi-Wan was trying to see, like, if she would have memory of her brother as well for similar reasons. Basically seeing if she's Force sensitive.
Yeah.
So to speak.
This is the first time that I've actually been like, I feel like Luke or you, Max, where I'm like, I have to go back and rewatch that. Because as you know, this scene's very near and dear to my heart. And so I cannot say anything until I rewatch this to confirm.
Yeah. And Obi-Wan has a brother, too. I mean, let's not overlook that fact as well.
It's really a twofer.
But, I mean, also, Obi-Wan Kenobi is such a great TV show, and that is one of the best scenes when he's talking to Leia about her parents, and she doesn't even know it.
And Freck is
Yeah.
there. Freck is also a very underrated character.
Classic Zach Braff. All right, well, that'll do it for this episode. Let us know what you think. Feel free to reach out to us at social media at Force for Thought, or you can email us at forceforthought@gmail.com.
See you, Sammy.